Hello and welcome to Ticker Climate. My name's Holly Stearnes. It's great to have you tuning in every single Monday. Now on Ticker Climate, we tackle the climate crisis facing our planet and we examine what actions governments and corporations need to be taking. Each week, we speak with the key movers and shakers in this space. My co-host, Scott Hamilton, is a climate change and energy expert. Scott is an author, researcher and policy advisor with a mission to tackle the big issues and accelerate climate change action. Scott joins me live now. Now, exciting stuff. Let's get right into today's guest. Our guest today is Martin Carolan, who is the CEO and Managing Director of Global Energy Ventures. He's leading the way for shipping solutions for the energy transition with their mission to build, own and operate ships to transport green hydrogen right around the world. Martin, thank you so much for your time.
Hello, Martin. Can you hear us?
Great to have your company, Martin. Now, let's start our conversation. Can you just give us some background on Global Energy Ventures?
Yeah, thanks, Holly. So GEV, or Global Energy Ventures, was established back in 2017 with a mission to develop a compressed natural gas shipping solution. So that's, as you mentioned, so we're in the business of the build, own and operate of the loading, the storage, transport and the unloading. So we've developed that successfully over the last 3 to 4 years. Then last year we watched the emergence of the hydrogen economy start to appear. So we set ourselves the challenges of transferring our method of compression, storage of gas at compression, into the world of hydrogen. So last year we then announced a new ship specification design for hydrogen that was successfully achieved in terms of its approval in principle. We're now in full development mode of a pilot scale ship, so very exciting.
Yeah, this is really great news, Martin, and congratulations on these latest announcements, by the way. Really good. Could you actually just talk to us a little bit about how your sort of method or your approach is different or similar to other approaches? Like some people have said that yours is the plain Jane solution.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. We like to think of it as the elegant solution, but I'll take plain Jane if that gets us through.
I meant that in the most nicest way, Martin.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I guess if we start with the similarities, so if the objective is to transport a renewable, clean, green hydrogen that's produced in certain markets where there's an abundance of renewable energy, and then transport that to another market, all of the proposed supply chains need to get a low density gas up to a much higher density, and then transform that into a different product to then transport. So all we are doing is taking that same approach of using compression that all other methods will use, and simply store and load it onto our ship. So we're not looking to put in place very large, expensive, energy inefficient processes purely just to get the transport right. We're saying to get the market going and create a global market and supply chain for hydrogen, let's compress, store and put it on a ship and move it to the market as soon as we can.
Yeah, and Martin, does this mean that there's limitations attached to how much renewable hydrogen you guys can actually transport and how far you can go?
Yeah, that's a fair comment. So given the density of compressed hydrogen is much lower than alternatives such as liquefaction or ammonia, so there's clearly some volume and distance benefits to our solution as well as the negatives. So we look at the context of up to 2,000 nautical miles. When we run studies, up to at least 4,000 nautical miles is within our hitting range. Clearly, the closer the better. And in terms of volumes, well, we think 200,000 to 400,000 tonnes is kind of where we sit. And in a future global market, that could be hundreds of millions of tonnes. That's quite small. But in the terms of the context of today, there are no proven solutions at scale. So that's still quite a significant step.
Yeah. What are your likely transport routes? Can you just talk us through that as well?
Yeah, so we've been talking about looking at the northern parts of Australia where there's a planned abundance of renewable hydrogen to be developed and produced. If you go from the northwest Australia to Singapore, that's 2,000 nautical miles, and indeed the major key growth markets and aspirational markets of, say, South Korea and Japan are in a distance of around that 4,000, 4,200 nautical miles. So we still sit within an economic range in the Southeast Asian context. Europe, which is really the leader of the commercialisation and implementation of hydrogen, is another area of focus for us. We've signed a partnership with a very large German consulting group, ILF, And so we're looking at supply areas within a 1 to 2,000 nautical mile range. So that could be in North Africa, such as areas of Morocco or Egypt, or as far as the Middle East region.
Certainly is global, Martin. Now, one of the questions that we often get when we talk about this is, what about the risk or the safety issues? Could you just sort of step us through that?
Yeah, I guess wherever you have the use of hydrogen as a gas, it is a delicate product to deal with. What I would say about the safety aspect is that compression is used as the onshore storage and transport method, and has been for many years. So we operated at a pressure of 250 bar or 3,600 psi. Onshore applications are already using standards such as 300 to 700 bar. So we're not looking to invent anything new here. There will be some stringent safety practices in place, and indeed to that point, we're going through the design and approvals phases for our classification of the ship, which is very stringent. And so, we need to prove that the safety aspect of our design is first and paramount.
Yeah, and certainly we all are used to dealing with compressed gas. Well, a lot of us with our homes as well, and our barbecues, of course. I'm really interested to know about your patents and how you're tracking on those and how they're coming along.
Yeah, so we've been successful in lodging and getting filing and approvals of patents in our compressed natural gas business. And so to that effect, we've lodged a US patent, a file of patent. That's really not to do with so much compression, but it's actually the application of storing hydrogen at pressure within a marine pressure vessel. So it's application and method there. So we're looking to just put some protection around our design and methodology going forward. So not so much the concept of compression itself. So we filed that earlier this year, and we're now going through the process over the next 12, 18 months to go through the various stages to get that approved.
Cool. And so when can we look to see the first ship, do you think, Martin?
Yeah, so in the last recent time, we've announced an intention to move to what we call a pilot scale ship, so 430 tonnes. We think that's going to be suitable for an immediate near-term market opportunity. We think that lowers the risk of construction and overall finance of a fleet of ships. So we're targeting full class approvals at the end of 2022, which would give us an opportunity to put a ship on the water in 26. So the market's really still evolving in the late 20s to early 30s. So we think that's where we can have our pilot scale ship, and then sort of by 2030 we'd be looking to implement the full scale shipping solution.
Very exciting.
Incredible. What's next for your business? I get, other than your recent announcements, what's some other projects that you guys might be working on at the moment in the future of this shipping space?
Yeah, so we've been fortunate to attract some very large partners to our program. Ballard Power Systems for fuel cells. Last week we announced Wärtsilä for our engine management systems. We continue to talk to others about integration for loading and unloading, APL and other companies which you've worked with before. We're now trying to take the steps to commercialization. So who's going to take on the supply chain and implement it into their renewable hydrogen projects. So we're talking to groups here in Australia and looking at opportunities in Europe. And we've also made the decision to perhaps pursue the development of our own production project as well. So we are looking at sites in the northern part of Australia. The production of hydrogen is not straightforward, but it's certainly it's different to extracting an oil and gas type environment. You're basically just manufacturing. So we think if we can put together a proposition, we can create the full value chain and control our destiny.
Incredible. Martin, I've got to ask, on one hand, you're shipping LNG, and on the other, green hydrogen. I guess one adds to global warming and one doesn't. Can you just talk to us about how you reconcile that? Yeah,
well, first of all, we're not shipping any natural gas at this stage. We're looking to still pursue that. We released a study last year which demonstrated that compression in terms of a similar volume and distance from an LNG alternative, it reduces the emission footprint by 3 to 4 times. So gas still has a role in the transition to clean green fuels. So I think if we can help some of these large energy majors reduce their overall footprint, still deliver gas to their customers, but in the same time, as a company, we're trying to position ourselves to transition to those pure green fuels such as hydrogen. So I think we still have a benefit in the product offering we have for gas, but clearly the future of our business will be in hydrogen.
Yes, incredible. Martin, that's all we have time for today on Ticker Climate, but we appreciate your time so much and coming in to talk to us about your business. You're absolutely leading the way in this industry, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Martin. Cheers.
Thanks, Holly.
Well, that's all we have time for today on Ticker Climate. Thank you, Scott, as always. Wonderful co-host. We'll see you next week.
The news stream never sleeps. As the sun rises above Melbourne, New York rings the final bell. Then Singapore comes online and Hong Kong's in play. The Middle East pushes for change and Europe makes its move.
We've got your ticket to the world right here.
Watch the world unfold with Adrian Franklin, journalist and first with breaking news. Market-moving perspectives on the stories shaping your day. Ticker News, weekdays with Adrian Franklin.
I'm Mike Loader. Stay cool, stay safe. I'm your Ticker Originals host. Every show I'm joined by amazing experts with fresh ways of thinking. We love it green. We deep dive into the stories for your life. You know, the stuff you actually care about? Unpacking the advice you can really understand.
There's a crisis in global shipping.
How do you get through the winter months?
Well, I just look at the price of Bitcoin and I get happy.
Check out our Ticker Originals shows. There's something new every day.
Ticker Originals with Mike Loader, only on Ticker News.
On Ticker News, supersonic travel and the aircraft of the future.
Almost 20 years since the last Concorde flight, so much has changed about how we travel and communicate.
This is pretty exciting.
The boom supersonic overture is taking shape and taking orders, but will it take to the air?
Aircraft is just a paper airplane at the moment.
The experts, the predictions and the reality. Are we ready to step back into supersonic travel?
So you're never going to get to your destination quicker, regardless of who you fly with.
Pack your bags, we've got you covered right here on Ticker News.
Tune in to Ticker News right through June as we celebrate Pride Month, the achievements of the LGBTIQ community in business and tech right around the world. It's the yearly event remembering the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in New York City and the battle for those who fought for equality. Pride Month right through June here on Ticker News. Global news and how it intersects with business.
Ticker News. Be part of the change.
They are calling it the Asian century, the centre of global growth, geopolitical tensions, and the cities of the future. Ticker News is on the ground, keeping you in the know. Live every day with the newsmakers and the breaking news. I'm Jack.